Welcome to another episode of Planning Phase Syndicate. Thank you all so much for joining us. I had audio technological issues for whatever reason. It just seems to be that night. Maybe it's Father's Day. Maybe Emperor Palpatine was like, nope, you guys are not allowed to go live tonight. I don't know what it is, but either which way, we are live and we are excited to bring you a new episode of Planning Phase Syndicate. So right now, before we do anything, it would be amazing. Anybody that's watching the stream, if you would like, you could reach out to your friends, your Discords. If we get enough people in here, we'll give away some cool crap at the end of the stream. So bring as many people as you can into the stream. Throw the links up in your Discords. Throw them up on Facebook. And anybody that's watching this live and is going to post in the chat at the end of the show, we'll do some sort of a raffle for a couple of different prizes that we put together. And we aren't going to reveal exactly what they are, but I do believe we might have some dial covers and we might have some tokens that we will be able to give away. Without further ado, though, welcome to the show. This episode is going to be our 6th episode for the year, and it is amazing because we're going to talk about initiative order and engagement, some of the pilots and cards that affect it, like the Torkoal Mux, who sucks, by the way, pilot card that this guy disgustingly changes you to Initiative 0. And we're going to do a new segment, which is titled, What is Your Spark of Hope? Where we're going to actually kind of go around and talk about, what brought us into the game today and why we're super excited to talk about X-Wing. And then at the end of the show, we'll do like a system malfunction. We're going to kind of talk about 90-degree rotation mechanics, because that's one mechanic that a lot of people don't know a lot about. It's not a super popular mechanic unless you play Separatists, and which you should always be playing Separatists. And we're going to kind of talk a little bit about some of the other pilots and the other factions that accompany it. But without further ado, why don't we bring my co-host in, Charles, the man, the Mandalorian, the burnt tank top guy, and Matt, the balding hero that everybody needs. Welcome to the show, everyone.
How's it going, guys?
Good. So, I know we had a little bit of technical difficulties, but how was your week, everyone?
My week was good. I climbed the ladder in Nickel City's Ladder League, which was fun. I got some table time for actual X-Wing. I got to grill out some good steaks and lobster yesterday on my smoker. So far, it's been a pretty solid 5-day weekend for me. So I don't have to go back to work till Tuesday, so I'm enjoying every minute of it.
Works for me. How about you, Matt? What would you do this week?
Oh, busy. Starting a business, so been very, very busy this week. Got our first order for our business. Big order.
Congratulations, bro.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Yeah. Other than that, just been busy. Been in the shop, working a lot, and as unfortunately I must be the bearer of bad news to the people in chat. There was some technical difficulties on mechanics and making side, so unfortunately dial covers are not available, but as a bonus we do have still tokens. Those I was able to salvage. Yay!
Yeah. Awesome. So
awesome.
Yeah, awesome tokens. They are, and so we our goal is to start doing some giveaways. We started creating some token things for some of our Patreons. If you can head over to our Patreon page and join in over there. We'll be more than happy to take any membership. Essentially, all the proceeds are going to create the stuff. It's like there's no money in the pocket. It's 100% designed to help create a community and give back to everyone. With that being said, why don't we start our first topic? So tonight we wanted to talk about initiative, order, and engagement, right? And that's, to me, that's one of the more popular things, one of the more the things that I focus on quite a bit when I'm, content creating and list building, right? Because to me, the big thing that I have an issue with, right, as everybody knows, is Torkoal Mux. Torkoal Mux is the bane of my existence. I am not a fan of him. But with that being said, we also have to talk about other aspects of initiative order, because initiative is essentially extremely important to the game. So I'm going to flip over, and Charles, why don't you bring up a couple of cards with different initiatives on them?
Sounds good.
All right. So his favorite is Fenrau, obviously.
Absolutely. Let's see. Who else? Throw me some names.
So pull up Vader. There you go. There's IG 88A. All right. Asajj Ventress. I guess we're only going to go Scum.
Just pulling off the top of my head. It's not.
Isn't there
purpose,
any better factions
know the
than
name of any
Scum?
other pilot.
Major Vendor. There you go. So those are some good ones. So the initiative is that orange number next to the pilot card. And essentially there's like a couple of different things you want to know. So when you're you're building your squads and you're building this, your initiative essentially helps dictate the order of engagement you have and the order of other different effects. Okay, that's enough cards. Different effects that you're going to have. So for example, one of the big things that they have, right, is when I'm doing an initiative and I have initiative 6, I want to be able to move so I can outmaneuver. It's more of an ace style, right? Whereas if you want to bring up like a separatist drone, that is an initiative 1. So as an initiative 1, that shit moves first. So in my world where I love to block and do all these fancy little things, I have a difference that I do, and that's kind of like, well, if it were up to me, I'm gonna go through and block. Right? That's the big thing for me. If I could go over and block, then I could stop other ships from being able to do what they do, and take actions and all these other things. So kind of going back a second, we want initiatives based specifically on what play style we have or what we want to accomplish with that list. So your initiative is the order. Now, before we get into that, and I think it's important, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's important we talk about the initiative roll, right? Your total points that you can have. So if we were to have total points, for example, you can have up to 200 points. Now, if you're in, I don't know, we'll call it Charles's world, and you have all pilot 6s, and your wing condition is specifically designed around the fact that you have to move last. You have to take a lower point cost. Jeez. You
must bring a lawyer to the game.
You must bring a lawyer to the game. But if you don't bring a lawyer to the game, you're fired. So now you're throwing me off, bro. The idea though, right behind that, and this is why it's very important, is by bringing that to the game, you specifically are able to outmaneuver somebody else. So you get only a set amount of point costs that you get completely, right? There's only a set amount. It's 200 points. So if I want to move last or I want to move first, I have to make sure I underbid my opponent. Now, Charles, when Boba Fett in Scum was popular, what was like the lowest point that they were going for?
I remember like there was a Guri Fen list and the Boba Fen list and a Boba Guri list, and generally speaking, I mean the lowest bid I've ever seen is someone building at 178, and that was just crazy. Normally your bid is 5 points or less in general situations, but it can vary depending on the list someone's playing and how deep they're willing to go to ensure that they get to go first. You don't always want to go first. Sometimes, like for instance, if you're flying Advanced Sensors Guri, or you're flying Vader, or you're flying Supernatural Reflexes Kylo, or any of those high initiative level pilots, you want to go second. So the low bid is not necessarily who's That's the most important part when it comes to that, is who actually gets to make the choice of first or second. So if you're flying a low initiative list, you want to go first so you can get those blocks. If you're flying a high initiative list, you want to go second so you can get around those blocks. So initiative order plays a lot in that, and your bid really drives that.
Johnny had an interesting take in chat. He mentioned that for new players, going at initiative 1 or 2 can be nice because then you don't have to worry so much about whether or not you're going to bump because you're kind of blocking. You only have your own ships to worry about and the ships where their positions already were. So really, if you are learning to play and starting to learn some of the maneuver templates, he is very correct. To be able to go first at that low initiative, you do add a little bit of an advantage there. So, or you have at least a little bit of an advantage in the fact that you don't have to anticipate your opponent's moves necessarily.
And it's funny because Johnny and I were actually having a very similar discussion a couple of nights ago. Is are aces better than swarms, or are swarms better than aces? What's better,
yes,
pilot abilities or multiple shots? And it really depends on the play style, because I've seen Chris do amazing things with swarms that are all I-1 pilots and they all move together and they do things. But I've equally seen Chris do some crazy stuff with ace pilots and high initiative. So it really just depends on your play style as well.
Yeah, I think the big thing here that everybody, that people really, really, really want to see is the ooh, I just lost my headphones. Is the basic idea of what strategy you want. So on my side, one of the big strategies is for me is a swarm, kind of like what Charles says. But there's other things you have to consider. Do you share the same pilot skill as your opponents? Do you want to activate first? Do you want to create a block component to stop them taking any of their specific actions? Now, some ships can still continue to take actions without it having to be a big thing. But that's one of the things is most of the time you lose your action. Another thing is do you want to be the first person when you attack to have to deal with your conditions from crits, right? Do you want to, specifically be able to tractor somebody first, right? Or shoot at them first, So like you have to consider all of these millions of different type of cards that go into your list. And a lot of times, obstacle placement can be a thing, but I don't usually choose my, specifically, I don't choose my list and my initiatives on obstacles. I don't know if either of you do or not.
For me, it depends. Like sometimes I will choose my list based on initiative. For me, where one of my biggest pitfalls in the game is remembering what order my ships need to activate in. So I'll have like the perfect turn available and ready to go. And then I forget that one ship moves before the other and it completely screws everything up. So having everybody at the same initiative order or the same initiative step allows me to choose who goes first and when they go. It makes it a little easier for my limited intellect to fly. But so sometimes I build, but most of the time I'm just trying to throw I pick one ship that I want to fly, build around it like a tent pole, and hope to goodness I can fit what I need to fit in there.
Yeah, and that's another thing about initiative, right? Is like you were saying is your, and this kind of gets a little bit into engagement, and I didn't want to quite get into it yet, but it kind of gets into engagement because if I want to shoot at the same time. So Charles, why don't you kill some of those cards? I don't know if they're on there or not, and bring up. For me, Nash Windrider, and bring me up another alpha, one of the other alphas. Whatever the initiative 4 is. It's like an
Squadron.
Alpha Squadron, something or other. I can get you the Saber Squadron. There you go. I'm dumb. Doing a segment. There you go.
What, you don't remember every single ship in the game? What?
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. You're only calling out Empire pilots, Chris. Man.
It is, because what I want to go for, there's a reason to bring Nash up, because Nash's ability affects all the other things, because he lets you stay on to the end of engagement. But the big issue, not end of engagement, end of getting killed. So like in this case, if Charles's thing comes in and shoots one of my Saber Squadron, because of Nash's ability, my specific guy stays on. I get spend the energy, and I get to go after and aggressively try to hopefully kill Fenn off, which doesn't work if he's range 1, almost in any situation, because is invincible at range 1 for the most part. Charles also brought up Warthog, because Warthog's the other one I always go to. I love running Warthog. He's one of my favorite in the Republic set, and I actually think I ran that against Charles with 4 V-Wings this weekend. Maybe last night. Did we do it last night? I don't remember anymore. But I ran a squad with Warthog and these V-Wings, and they just naturally live. And so the difference between the two initiative engagement shots, right, is with Nash, it only affects one ship, right? A. But B, he immediately gets to shoot. So if Charles is shooting me, and this is why initiative can be extremely important. Charles is an I6. And go ahead, bring Fenn back up. I like Fenn enough. We get him on the screen again. Yeah. So bring Fenn back. There you go. There's Fenn. And so with Fenn on the screen, right, he's going to shoot me at 6. If that Saber Squadron doesn't have Nash, he dies. You don't get to shoot. It's done and over with. Now, can you bring up Vader, or bring up, I don't know, give me Luke Skywalker. Is Luke Skywalker Han Solo? Give me Han Solo, because he's initiative 6 in Rebel.
Luke is not. Wedge is the X-Wing pilot.
Yep, or Wedge. Anybody else that's a 6. So there you go. So see how Solo is a 6. If Fenn killed Solo off, Solo gets to shoot. All right, you can go ahead and remove Han. He's not that great. Just kidding.
Wow.
I don't like Han. I'm not a Han fan. I like Han Scum. Here. I love Han Scum, though.
He suffers from heartburn.
I do.
You like Scum Han, but you don't like Rebel Han?
Yeah, I love Scum Han, actually. It's fun to play. He's tricky, but we're not going to talk about Scum Han in that aspect. We'll talk about...
That's a different episode.
Yeah, it's a different episode, and I think that's a fun episode to have. But anyway, so the initiative would be, when Han is shooting back at Fenn, if you know you're going to die, and you got focuses and things like that, and you're like, Charles rolls 5 dice with Fenn for range 1, and hits all hits, and you got 2 hull left, you ain't going to spend that focus unless you're going to die. So Nash comes in and says, hey, sir, you're going to get to shoot right away. Whatever tokens you have and all these other things, you're going to continue to shoot back at whoever you want before you leave this earth. It's like a parting gift. Warthog, on the other hand, does not let you take that initiative change. So essentially, that Saber Squadron goes from a 4 to a 6. Warthog says they're going to still shoot at that 4, but they don't get to die. So again, it goes back to, if you know as a Saber Squadron, you're going to end your life, or your life's been ended, your plane just hasn't completely blown up, you still save that focus token, or whatever you have, until you get to shoot. So that's the huge thing when it comes to engagement and understanding initiative order, because you run a bunch of 6. You want initiative. You want to choose whether you move first or you move last. You do, like every single time. It is very important, because you don't want your Vader to get outmaneuvered. And you can ask my son about that, because my son and I actually played a game this weekend where he played Vader in the X1 and I played Vader in the Defender. Both I6s. We gave him, because he's a newer player, the option, do you want to go first or second? He goes second. Guess how many times I could shoot at his Vader? 2 times. That's it. 2 times. Every other time he was able to outmaneuver. And a Defender is a hard thing to outmaneuver to some extent too, because the Defenders are very versatile in their movesets. Anyway, so now we're going down. I'm going on a tangent. I apologize. So that's like an ace. That's the advantages of having an ace. If you want to talk swarms, now we're getting into it. And Charles, if you want to pull up a swarm, I don't care what swarm list you bring up. Just bring like 3 or 4 ships up for a swarm. And when you talk swarm list, you're talking, do you want to move first or second? And in the Separatists, the way I build Separatists is I don't genuinely care if I go first or second for the most part. I want the max amount of destruction power I can get. I want either 8 drones or 7 tubs, or if I'm doing cartel spacers, I think I can only fit 7 now, right? We can only fit 7 of those.
You can fit 8. They're
just no toys?
2 or 20. No, I think they're 22 each as of last build. Hold on, let me find out.
Okay, so if they're 20 each, you can add some toys into there. as well. And Cartel Space, I'll tell you, Cartel Spacers are not as fun to fly as a Vulture Droid Swarm is, but they are...
25 each, I apologize.
Okay.
25 with flat, so no ways you can fit 8.
Yep. And they, without toys, they do less damage. But at the exact same time, you can still run 8 of them. So if you move second and somebody blocks you, you're going to have a hard time taking your actions. And that's the same thing with these Federation drones. You do not want to be blocked by your own. So the idea becomes is that if I'm flying Cartel Spacer, I'm probably going to take first player to move first. If nobody else has initiative 1, so let's say you're flying against initiative 6s, you go ahead and take that first player all day long because you do not have to worry about whether or not you're going to take actions or not. You're always going to move first. Every single time you get to move first. Whereas in the other realm or the other world, you would not move first, and if you had another I-1 and you're going against I-1s, you could just be blocked. So if Charles ran Cartel Spacers versus my Trade Federation, we would have, we would essentially want to bid each other a little bit because of the fact that I want to move first no matter what. Now, I don't know, Charles, I'll never run Cartel Spacers that much, so you tell me, does running first or making sure you get your actions against another swarm imperative, or is it something you can live without?
Honestly, I don't think it's something. So the Trade Federation drone, just speaking openly, right, gets an ability that no other ship that I have access to has, and that's the network calculation. So as long as somebody gets an action, you're okay depending on who's getting shot. With a Cartel Spacer, it is imperative that you get your focus so that you have it for defense. You're only rolling 2 reds, so you got a 50 shot of dealing damage. Average is 1 in a 2-dice shot, 2 if you're lucky. So having that focus is imperative to your offensive and defensive output. So yeah, moving first with Cartel Spacers are extremely important.
Yeah. So that's part of the, when you're building your list, you have to think about that. And a lot of people, so again, if you're just playing in your local or you're playing with friends, you don't have to worry about meta per se, right? Like I ran a bunch of Tri-Fighters last time I played locally. I hang out with Matt. I'm probably not going to run this, but I'll probably run First Order, and I'll probably run some other ships. I probably don't care too much. I'm going to just kind of go for the fun element. But if I'm playing like in a tournament or something, I got to think all of these things through. And I think the idea becomes it's a really good idea to think through. Because again, Charles moving first means he gets to shoot first, right? So Cartel Spacers, adding that tractor beam token is of great value. Great value. Like huge. Because you're going to shoot first, throw that tractor beam token, that ship now gets 1 less green dice no matter what it is. And if you look at my drone, he's only got 2 to begin with. Network calculates, but if you throw a tractor on, I'm getting 1. That's it. Getting 1.
And if I'm lucky enough to strain you, I get nothing.
Yeah. And you could also be moved out of range. That's the other thing, too. It's possible also.
Yes, exactly, Matt. Yep, moving somebody out of range is huge. So against an I-1 swarm, Charles being able to shoot first, that's huge. Same with my droid. I want to shoot first. You know why? Because I want to spend all my green tokens on offense, and then even if I can eliminate 3 of those Cartel Spacers, they're still going to get to shoot back at me, but I'm not as caring because I'm doing nothing but aggressive output. That's what I care about. I want to kill you. That's what I want to do when I run a swarm. I don't want to be evasive. I don't want to regen. I don't want to feel good. I don't want to be a clunky Han. I want to murder you. I don't want to live forever because I'm a drone. I don't care. Cartel Spacers, there's some human life there, though.
Also, the power of first, when you shoot first, you also can strip tokens. And by stripping tokens, you do take away the defense or offense, depending on whatever one it may happen to be. But you do take the offense of those shots coming back at you too. So yeah, I mean that also is a key of those shoot first kind of things.
Yeah, and Matt's exactly right. That's like huge, right? You be able to strip a token from somebody, and you can ask Charles how many times he stripped tokens from me last night when we played. How many times? Every bloody time. Every time.
So just to be clear with everybody, I'm running I've been testing dual Shadowcaster lists, dual Lancers. And with Asajj, if you are in her mobile arc at range 0-2, you have the option to get rid of a green token or take a stress. And if you take a stress, she had lots Razi crew, so I could spend your stress as basically a focus token for a green die. I could change a blank or focus result to an evade. So being able to throw a stress down or strip you of your green token is huge.
Yep. And that's the big thing there, right? You know, and Asajj is really cool with lots because you can. She's like a 10 nub for Scum. 10 nub spends his own stress. Lots spends the stress of the other ship. Which, Charles, that's actually really unique. And you know what would be broken if a Shadowcaster had 2 crew? That's the one thing we were talking about. Is like, can you imagine running Lats and Zam on the same ship with Asajj? That would just be like the best thing. Oh, you're going to do stressful maneuvers? Oh, I'm going to get rerolls for free. Thank you.
Such a big ship, too. Imagine, like, it's one of the few big, large base ships that don't actually have the 2 crew slots.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love that ship, actually. I own one of those, and I think this week when we do our local, I think I might run my Asajj. I think I might do that. Just because I really love...
Airplane Scum?
I might, yeah. Yeah.
Charles, you're going to miss it. It's going to be crazy.
It's either that or keep practicing for the tournament. I don't know. But that's a whole migration of things. So just as kind of a recap, initiative matters because you could get initiative killed. People can shoot you. You'll lose your churn. The other thing is do you want to be able to focus fire, right? Having the initiative allows you to focus fire. I guess we could talk about that for a few seconds here. I think focus firing is very important as well. And if you think about it, you know, when you run a swarm, that's how you want to focus fire. If you are running just a 3-ship ace list or kind of like a 4-ship rebel, you know, salad type thing, you being able to focus fire is a little bit less likely, right? Because you're not going to typically put your ships in this little clump. It's not going to happen. You don't usually want to do that because you don't want everybody to be able to shoot at all 3 of your ships. You want them to have to deal with one so the other can kind of come around in a pincer move and take care of you. And again, Charles, like in Charles's list with his 2 Lancers, he did that. He put 1 on each side of the board, and they came in, and it's like, who are you going to go after? You got to pick one, but you're going to go after him. Now, he did get killed by some thermal detonators, so
I did 5K into 5 thermal detonators. It was not a pleasurable experience for me.
That doesn't sound very fun.
He did forget that, but you know, on the opposite side of things, it was very amazing in the aspect of those 2 large base ships can do pincer movements, and it forces you to make a decision. So focus firing is amazing, but when you're in an ace list or you're doing some of these other things, you're not worried about focus fire. What you're doing is worried about stripping tokens, putting as much damage in as you can, and getting away and not getting shot at. And so your initiative helps you not get shot, move away, make it easier. One of Charles's most hated ships, Soontir Fel, is insanely good at that. He is so good at not getting shot if you play him right. I'm not very good at it. I usually lose my Soontir Fel right away. But I'll tell you, it's very fun to run. And you can run a 666 list similar to our Initiator 66 episode. You know, we got to kill some clones. Give me Sienna, give me Soontir, and give me Vader. We ain't going to have clones left.
Talk about clones. Kill Jedi, man.
No, I kill the clones. Well, you can kill Jedi. Jedi only run in like one faction, man. I only get Jedi in Republic, and I guess I get them in Rebel too. But I don't get Jedi. They're not in what Jedi are in Resistance? How many? Like 2.
Well, there's 1, just the 1.
Oh, 1.
Right.
Okay, so even worse.
More than 1. Gosh.
Yeah,
no,
when you play Republic, you get like 20 or 30 of them.
Oh yeah, they're all the Jedi are in Republic.
Yeah, there's more clones than all the other ones. So
if you want to be technical, Leia was part of the Resistance, and she was a Jedi.
But she's not a pilot.
Yeah, she is. She's a Falcon.
Mm-hmm.
In Resistance?
No, that's the Rebel. That's the Rebel.
It's a Rebel, man.
Oh, sorry. But she's still a crew. She still has Force.
Her, Luke, and then who do you have? Well, you have Kanan Jarrus. There's not very many. There's not many Rebel. There's not really many for any of the other ones.
Yeah.
All right, I think we've gone in the weeds far enough.
Well, welcome
You're
to
not wrong.
Chris Running Academy 101. That being said, I'm going to jump into roll call in just a second. So our roll call tonight is presented to you by Charles, the shirtless wonder, and he's going to be talking about some cards that affect us, and affect your initiative and engagement order. So Charles, I'm going to hop back over to the other one, and it looks like you've already got the ships up.
Working on it.
So it's fine. Otherwise,
Such
I
a
can bring them up
Florida
too,
shirt,
buddy.
I have to say it. That is like
You're good.
the epitome of a Florida shirt right there.
You're not wrong. You are not wrong.
I think it's the Florida shirt archetype. I'm just saying.
Yep. It was 90 something degrees here today, so I'm comfortable.
There you go.
All right. What do you got in store for us today, Charles? Oh, get rid of that ship. Can you get rid of that ship? I don't believe that ship actually should even be in 2.0.
Swarm tactics?
You're gonna
talking
stare
about?
at it for the rest of my segment, Chris. Get used to it. You know what? I'm gonna make my profile picture so whenever I turn my camera off, you have to see it.
Ouch.
Okay. So what we're talking about with our topic of being initiative, focusing on initiative and things that you can do there. I brought up 4 cards that really can affect. Really,
Just keep going. I'll put it back. Keep going.
So Swarm Tactics allows you at the start of engagement, you can choose one friendly ship at range 1. If you do, that ship treats the initiative equal to yours until the end of the round. So you could fly Vader with an I-1 TIE fighter and choose that TIE fighter, and that TIE fighter gets to move at 6. Or, well, start of engagement, gets to shoot at 6. So you get to shoot at the same level as an ace pilot.
So, can I ask a second? Would you ever do that? Would you actually say, I want my TIE fighter to shoot before everyone else? Maybe Night Beast.
So here's the thing, and I'll go to Torkel Mux really quick. So early on in 2.0, there was a list archetype that ran Torkel Mux with the Moldy Crow, 3 Kiraz fighters, and Captain Seabor. If I put you at 0, my I-1 fighters can PS kill you. They can kill you before you get a chance to shoot. So yeah, if I'm flying a swarm and I can get enough guns on you, like for instance, you were talking about how hard it is to hit Sunterfell. If I get Sunterfell in 2 arcs and I can take 2 range 1 shots at him before he has a chance to answer anything, absolutely I'm going to do it. Now, have I ever built a list around swarm tactics? Not since 1.0. It was a little bit different at 1.0 because it allowed anyone at range 1 to share. So like you could have one I-8 pilot with a swarm and then you could pass it around as you needed. But it does affect the initiative order for the engagement phase. Similarly, the Han Solo gunner for the Rebel faction, during engagement phase at initiative 7, you get to perform a turret attack, and then you cannot attack from that again this round. This was a huge crew on the Falcon for a while because the Falcon has the bow tie arc, so it's left, right, or front, back. So if you had one ship in your front, then you could shoot, and then when it got to the actual initiative, which was 6, he would get a second shot out the back. It works very similar to how Big Ben works now, allowing you to fire at 2 separate targets. This just required they be in opposite arcs of each other. But it allowed you to shoot at a 7, which is crazy because right now in 2.0, the top initiative is 6. So that even gives you the opportunity to PS kill an ace off the board. Heightened perception. I tried to run this against Chris on my I4 Asajj Ventress, but the list Chris bought had everybody at 3, so I was already an ace and didn't get to use it.
That was the best part.
So
I didn't do that on purpose, though.
Wasted 3 points. But with heightened perception, at the start of engagement, you spend a force. If you do, you engage at a 7 instead of your standard. So you're still only getting 1 shot. get to engage at that 7 range. And then using Torkoal Mux, if someone is inside your arc, anywhere, range 1, 2, or 3 inside your arc, and if you put Moldy Crow, you have a 180-degree arc, so you cover half of a very large bubble. You can make that ship shoot at a 0. So if Vader flew in range 1 of 3 I-1 pilots, I can kill Vader before he gets to do anything and take him off the board. Now, going back to Warthog kind of neutralizes a lot of this. Because Warthog doesn't care what your initiative level is. Warthog says if you're killed during combat, you're left on the board until combat is done. So you still get to at your initiative level, whether you blow up or not, because you don't come off the board. Nash is a little different because if your pilot gets killed, like if I do fatal damage to your pilot, Nash Winter allows that pilot to immediately activate or engage at that pilot level. So it doesn't keep it on the board, but it'll take it takes an I-1 to an I-4 if need be, so they get that shot when they die. There's not a lot of mechanics in the game that really mess with initiative order, but the ones that do, if you're not prepared for it, like I would liken it to anyone that plays Magic the Gathering. It's like a counterspell. If you sit down against a blue player and you built green monster or you've built red, and you're centered around being able to cast your spells and somebody is just counterspelling everything that you've got, what are you going to do against it? If you're flying 3 aces and I take one of them to a 0 with Torkoal Mux, every on my list gets a shot at that 0 before he gets to do anything. So if I can kill it, I don't got to worry about your initiative order. Or if I can shoot at a 7, it doesn't matter if you get to go first because I'm going to shoot at you first. So there's a lot of opportunities for initiative order to kind of be messed with these cards. I really didn't think of any off the top of my head other than these that would really affect initiative orders. These are my cards for roll call for this week. I think that they're fun. I know you hate him. I know you hate him. I like Torkoal Mux. I think he's a lot of fun in the right setting. Now, I will state that in the wrong setting, I have been across the table from Torkoal Mux, and I've also flown Torkoal Mux and caused a couple of non-positive gamer experiences where it ruins the game for somebody. I've played it against Chris before I knew Chris had a problem with Torkoal Mux, and that's when I found out his hatred for that pilot. But I've also flown it in other tournaments in person, and it can create a negative gameplay experience. But in a major tournament, like if you're going to run this at a regional level tournament or a store championship level tournament, you win. He does well. The downside, Torkoal Mux gets 2 evade dice, so he burns quick. Yep, he burns out quick.
Pop.
But yeah, that's it for my roll call for this week. These are the cards that I think you guys should pay attention to if you're really wanting to mess with initiative order and move stuff around.
Affect the game too. When you're seeing those initiatives and start changing that kind of stuff around, Torkoal Mux, you already see what happens there. There are other things, and you've seen other lists. Like there was a crazy one with Ray and Amlin Hold where they did Swarm Tactics. Look back through some of the old GSP streams, you see that there's some really neat things. When you start playing with some of those initiatives, it really can change the dynamic of the game quite drastically.
Yeah.
So.
Amlin Holdo list was nuts because you could take Ray from an ace level pilot down to a 1 on purpose so that she could hold on to that cloak token for as long as possible to see if she needed to shoot. And if she didn't need to shoot, then she could keep the cloak token and just keep flying around and being a Millennium Falcon with 4 evade dice. It's horrible. It was terrible. I played against it in a tournament. It was terrible. It was horrible, but it was fun.
It was fun. I like that list. Maybe we should run that list against your Torkoal Mux list. There you go.
Bring it. I'll erase the need for swarm tactics because I'll take Ray to 0.
You probably will, because Ray's pretty good. Torkoal Mux sucks. Everybody knows it. It's the first shirt that we'll produce at one of these times. And yeah. Torkoal Mux sucks. With that being said, let's jump to our next segment. What are we gonna do? Oh, let's do the news. What is your spark of hope? So this segment is a new one, and it kind of plays off of our "What Turns My Dial" segment, right? Like you hear us ranting all the time. We rant, we rave. I hate Torkelmucks. You'll never hear the end of that. That'll be like the theme of the show for the rest of your life. Is my guess. That's my guess. I probably will never like Torkelmucks, which is funny, and this is funny because I like alternative win conditions, and Scum offers a lot of those. Actually, weirdly enough. And that's kind of a big thing. So what I wanted to do though was create a segment that's about things that we really like, right? You know, like what got us into X-Wing this week. You know, like I had a really bad week or I had a great week, and what makes me come back and play the game, right? What makes me want to come back and play the game? And I think that's huge, because if we want to help bring new players in, we got to be able to articulate why we like the game, right? My kid hates playing the game with me because of the fact that I played longer, more of the movements. I can anticipate some of the stuff. I understand what they do, how the combinations work. They don't. He doesn't like that. He doesn't like to lose either, so that's kind of his own fault. On that side, you know, he's not a very good loser. But when we played this week, you know, I convinced him to play, and I was like, hey, I will play a list that I've never ran before, which was one TIE Fighter, the Phantom, with Palpatine on it, and the upgrade title, and then Grand Vader and the Defender, right? And fun list. It was very. I've been reading. I read a lot of books, but I essentially read a lot of Star Wars books too. And I'm in the middle of Lord of the Sith. I don't know if anybody's read that. We should have a book club. I don't know. Maybe we should do a book club with everybody. But Lord of the Sith is a 2016 book that I've been reading that I believe that's canon. You all think, I think it's canon, isn't it? No, you don't know?
If it's a book, I don't think so. Books are legends, I believe.
Now, the new Thrawn ones are not, and neither are the new High Republic. So I do think it's canon because it's new enough. Because Disney did a thing. Now we're getting into like an after show. Like, so we'll do that as an after show. But I enjoy a lot of the Star Wars books, so I wanted to run something because in that one, Darth Vader and Palpatine have to deal with being on Ryloth by them, you know, with just the guards and all these other things. So it's kind of like very episodic, right? You know, and that's what I really like about it. So that was my personal inspiration for playing X-Wing this week, is because, hey, I was able to put something I read in a book on the table. And I've done this, you know, in the past, whereas how many times has Soontir and Darth Vader in a book together or on a movie together? Anybody know?
Never.
Thank you. Like, it's never. How many times is Jango Fett and Boba Fett in the same movie together?
2.
Thank you. Good. Hey, damn, we should do a trivia thing too. 2. I can't believe that. I didn't think either of us would get that. No, everybody would say
you
1.
underestimate how many friends I didn't have in high school.
So the idea, you know, like that was kind of the inspiration for this segment, but I think it's really a fun thing to do because I really enjoy these other things. In the future, kind of like a technical thing that we're going to talk about, we'll do a show on Epic. So I'm working on lining up some people to talk about Epic. Matt and I actually got into Epic, weirdly enough, during COVID, because when we went into COVID, there was only like so many people we were allowed to see, right? And so like we had to pick. So Matt and I actually hung out in his garage during summer once some of the stuff started to side down, and because Matt and I are very similar in lifestyle, so like
basically quarantine for everybody here. We had quarantined ourselves for multiple weeks on end at that point in time, and we were both kind of like, well, we haven't had zero contact for 2 weeks, so you know.
So Matt and we played a game of Epic together. It was really fun. It was I had never done it before. I played another one with my son, and I think we played a third time. I think we've done it a third time. And so anyway, so the idea is
well, just curious, with your Epic, did you play 1.0 Epic rules, or did you play the 2.0 where the wing moves based on how the wing leader flies and you use the templates
2.0
to move all the ship? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, then that's very enjoyable. I love that. As someone who played 1.0 Epic, 2.0 Epic is far superior. I love 2.0 Epic.
Yeah, and that new
If you're
ship.
interested in Epic, yeah, get in touch with us on chat. By the way, if you're interested in doing part of this Epic with us, please.
Yeah, because we're actually we are going to set up some stream games. We're gonna do this on TTS, and we'll take. Our goal is we're gonna have to see how long it takes to learn. But essentially, the idea is I got a couple of guests I'm working on lined up, and we're going to do segments where we learn how to play Epic, and then at the end of it, we're going to open it up to anybody that wants to play, that watched all the streams, that wants to play online with us, and we'll set some times up, and we'll play Epic online. I mean, it would be better if it was in person, but I only own one camera, so like I don't know if we could do a bunch of Epic stuff in person, because you'd almost need like two cameras
way high up, because it's a 6x3 mat. That's a
be interesting.
Yeah.
Do a fisheye lens or something on that, like an old Beastie Boys video.
Not a fisheye lens, actually. We might actually be able to make that happen. I have the proper lens for that.
Oh, even better then. So Matt, stop promising things. we'll test it.
May. Hey, there was a May in there.
All right. Matt and I will test this theory out in the next couple of months. But we got people online to do the episodes with us that teach us how to play Epic properly, because that's kind of one of the big things that I have an issue with, is not understanding every one of the detailed mechanics. Like, I mean, Matt and I were like, oh, this seems like a stupid interaction. Do you really think you have to shoot 7 times with this ship? I mean, I have all the little red things. I get to shoot 7 times? You know, so anyway, it would be fun once we learn the rules. Matt, what was your spark of hope for the week?
Actually, there was recently a tournament on and that kind of stuff. So they slowly trickle them out on YouTube. So in my very busy schedule, I have a chance to like listen basically to some of these videos on YouTube, and you get to hear some of the things that people put on the board, and you kind of get to hear like a pilot that's never flown, or like the other day, for instance, or whatever it is, and you think about that, and you're like, wow, that's really interesting. I never thought about putting it on to this, and I never thought about that interaction. That's really, really cool. So, you know, when I hear some of those, sometimes my mind just starts going, and then I start putting together, you know, other lists and stuff I'd like to fly. Just discovering new ways of putting together different crews and different squads, just to be a little bit more exciting, have a little bit more gameplay. So that's that's one part of it, and then the other part of it too is that I like that AMG now, but FFG essentially so far has put together a shifting meta by shifting points, adding new pilots, new you know what I'm saying, any sort of like modification, ordnance, you get what I'm saying, new upgrades that you can put on ships. Yep, there you go, adding new mechanics. But I mean, not that there's tons of new mechanics, but like the slip, for instance, would be an example of that. But basically, by them shifting how the points interact and how all the different ships interact, it is really neat to see that, and to have that morphine meta, as well as to then hear about the meta and then put some of them together and have your own thoughts and put your own squads together, trying to make, like, sing, if you will, or something that you think you would play that would really take advantage of it in your own style, you know.
For sure.
All right, Charles.
Also making these tokens. Can I show tokens? Can I show the tokens?
Show the tokens.
Yes, Chris. Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. You don't need my permission, man. They're little baby Yodas. Look at that.
Baby Yoda target lock sets 1 through 4.
That is amazing.
Good goodies. Yeah, we were able to had a little bit of a laser malfunction, so they are not perfect, but they are as good as you're gonna get.
Fair enough.
I don't think anybody else has Baby Yoda like person physical tokens either. I'm not seeing.
Sure.
I've seen them on TTS,
exactly.
but
had a green sheet of acrylic, and I was like, "What else to do?" Baby Yoda.
There you go.
I don't disagree with that.
Charles,
As far My Sparkle recently during COVID, like typical tournament formats are fun. Don't get me wrong. I like hyperspace. I like extended. There has been a boom of people kind of developing their own tournament rules and running different non-sector tournaments. So like a Clone Wars tournament where there are no unique pilots. You could run as many of one named pilot as you can fit into a list if you wanted to run it.
Like, hold on.
I
Like an autopilot drone?
Yeah, because it wouldn't be unique.
Oh
But I
my
think a
God.
drone, yeah, exactly.
That'd be fun.
End up with 8. I think. What did they stop at 8, Charles, or no?
Yeah, max 8, so you max out at 8. But you'd have 4 rounds before all 8 of them blew up and you ran the game out. So that'd be a really quick little 4-run. But I played in a tournament at the beginning that was put on by another squadron that was showing love to generic pilots. You could only have one of any ship chassis on your team, and you could not have any named pilots. So you had 200 points to build generic pilots, and you couldn't have multiples of the same ship. So, like when you have these non sequitur tournaments, it forces you kind of out of your comfort zone into different build styles. Like for the one where I had to run generics, I ran a YV666, a Kimagila, Jumpmaster 5000, and Skirg Bomber. I ran those 4 generics together with minimal upgrades, and I had like 37 health. Which is crazy because there's only 32 cards. There's only 32 in the damage deck, 33 cards in the damage deck. So, you run into a bunch of different stuff. Today, for instance, over on Nickel City X, they have what they call a ladder league. And so for anybody that's played Need for Speed Blacklist, it's very similar. You have 10 people that are ranked from 1 to 10. Whoever's in the first place is the leader of the group, if you will. That person is the monarch, and they get to pass arbitrary list building rules as long as it doesn't give someone the advantage over somebody else. And then you play, and you can challenge people up to 2 levels above where you are. So I laid out a challenge. The arbitrary build rule was that the ship total was a max 5, and you could build up to 222 points. Cool. So I built a list on the fly. I flew Guri with Dalen Oberos and a naked Fang Fighter, the one generic Fang Fighter. I loved using Dalen Oberos. That's another thing that lights my spark is using pilots that nobody uses. They printed them. They want to see them play, but because that gets in the way, we have an entire stack. I'll bet I could get a stack of cards this thick of pilots that have never seen the table because there's no way to combo their abilities into game combinations or anything like that. Like there's just not a way to do it. So we have a slew of pilots that will never see the light of day. So running people like Daylight in a tournament, nobody expects to see that pilot. There's no way to plan for it. For those who don't know, and Chris will be talking about this in a minute, so you'll be able to see it. But Dalen, no matter what he does, it doesn't matter if he's stressed, it doesn't matter if it's a red maneuver, a white maneuver, or a blue maneuver. If he fully executes the maneuver, he can take a stress to rotate 90 degrees. So he can fly past your ship, take a stress, rotate 90 degrees, and have a range 1 shot. That's a crazy, crazy mechanic if you can get it to work. I will be fair and honest. Took 1 action with him the entire game because he spent the rest of the game just piling stress after stress after stress after stress. But again, it's a mechanic that nobody uses because the Star Viper is not hyperspace legal and they're a little cost inefficient when it comes to the ship. So it's really difficult to judge. But those are the things that make me love X. They're just doing things that are outside the norm and doing different stuff and being able to work. One last example of that sense that came out. Everybody has talked about how horrible the Scum Falcon is. And I'll carry this flag until I die. We saw in the last GSP tournament, it went coast to coast from game 1 to the final table at the end of cut, undefeated with a Scum Falcon, which is something I never thought I'd see. But if you can find a list that works, it's amazing.
So go ahead, Matt. Go ahead and do the giveaways first, though. Because of all the people, it says we had 7 to 9 people in there, and so you just might as well just say, hey, anybody that's listening, if you made it through all our audio issues, send over your information in our Discord. Right. The link is attached to it, and send it over to us. We will mail them out. And then essentially, so this takes the thunder away from the things. But Matt, go ahead and show everybody as a Vanna White what they could be getting.
They are getting these right here. Beautiful tokens provided by the designer Theory. Gorgeous Baby Yoda 1 through 4 target lock tokens. All yours. What? Oh yeah. Well, no, they'll get to take them out themselves. They're adorable. They are Baby Yoda. They're very well done. Some free issues on there, but yes, please make sure to send a private message to either myself or Charles or Chris, and we will get you your set of free tokens.
Awesome. So if anybody has any other, we do these giveaways all the time. If anybody else, wants to join, we're going to do a quick construct the Death Star, I think. And then we'll see if it works. I apologize. This is all new technology, and I don't think I've had this issue before until today. So
I'm through. Chris, looks like everybody's saying we're good.
Good. Awesome.
All right, let's construct a Death Star then. Shall we? Charles, you are in the hot seat today, sir.
Oh, I'm in the hot seat today. All right, then.
Yep.
And you know what I'm going to do? You ready for this? I'm not vetoing anything. Go.
Oh, my. All right.
No vetoes.
What faction do you think, Chris?
No, I'm multi-faction. Build me, dude.
Oh, wait.
I'm
That's
not
right,
vetoing
multi-faction.
anything.
I forgot we did multi-faction. Okay. In that case, I am going to... Let's see here.
Something
I haven't seen
right
in a
under
minute.
that
Let's
bus.
see here.
Go ahead, Matt. You go ahead. Take it away.
Okay. Oh, I get him into the first. Is it me? Okay. So let's see here. I want to start with something small because it's too often, but it's something we haven't seen. So I am going to start you out with Tucker in the V19, baby.
All right, then.
So who? Tucker?
Tucker.
Who is Tucker?
You never see Tucker. It is a V19 pilot. You guys haven't seen it. It's the V19. It's a Republic ship. It says after a friendly ship at range 1 to 2 performs an attack against an enemy ship in your forward arc, you may perform a focus action. Basically, you get a free action after a friendly ship performs an attack. It's a pretty good little ship, especially at 2. As long as you remember his trigger, the key, remembering his trigger, it's pretty good. So honestly, I would suggest putting on ordnance if were me.
Charles, do you want to add some ordnance?
What do you think, Charles?
Yeah, it's one of the few ships that I don't own in real life because the only way to get it is through the Jedi pack because it was never released on its own. What is Tucker?
Never released on its own.
When you perform an attack against an enemy ship in your front arc, you may perform...
After a friendly ship performs an attack. 1 to 2.
Yeah. Let's throw cluster missiles on him. He doesn't have a whole lot of room for much, but we'll try it with cluster missiles. That sounds fun.
And I am going to give you an autopilot, Joe.
Fair enough.
You got 4 turns to make use of 12 points. In fairness, though, it's only 12 points, though. So, I mean, it's not that big of a hindrance. And okay,
no, I agree.
So we didn't explain this. So let's go back a little bit. Last week, we built a Construct the Death Star list, which is a for funsy list that we play against each other in our Trench Run series. And the idea behind this, though, is the fact that we're using multi-faction. We're building multi-faction lists because it's fun, because nobody ever does it. I've never ran a multi-faction list in my life against anyone. So we're going to go ahead and do this. So I'm giving you an autopilot drone, which has no upgrades, blows up in 4 turns, and hopefully you can't get it close enough to me to do any damage.
Fair enough.
All right, and then what missiles did you decide on, Tucker? Was it cluster missiles?
Yeah, cluster missiles on Tucker.
All right, and then you ended up with an autopilot drone. Did you put anything on it?
You can't put anything on it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay,
it's naked.
That's true. Naked. You sent him out naked. All right. Okay. Resistance. I'm pulling in the resistance, and I'm giving you a pod, and I'm giving you a V Marauder in the pod.
Ooh. All right then. I'm getting all the is this like the smallest ship you can build?
We gotta go. You gotta check if these
I'm going for numbers. I'm going for numbers, baby.
There's oh yeah, we did do hyperspace.
Yeah, you did.
Oh.
Yeah, nobody's checking. Hold on, let's check. We could see.
One's fine.
If he's hyperspace. So V is hyperspace.
You can't do that. You can do mag pulse warheads, proton rockets, or concussion missiles.
Proton rockets then.
Okay.
You know what? No, put mag pulse on there. I've never flown mag pulse. Those sound fun. Throw mag pulse on there.
And so we have 2 1s. You in order to get Tucker's ability off, we should give him a higher initiative ship.
All right, I got an idea.
Tucker's my ace. Woo!
Tucker will be your ace. Really? You want Tucker to be your ace? I don't know.
No, you don't. You don't want Tucker to be the ace. Come on, let's at least try to let him use the ability.
Man. Fine.
All right. Is there what's Lambda certified in hyperspace?
Nothing, right?
Nothing. Lambda was never released in 2.0. It is not hyperspace legal, no matter what.
Man.
Yeah, you can get the Reaper. You can do the Reaper, or you can do the Decimator if you want something that carries crew.
Yeah.
I don't want to do any of that. That all sounds horrible. I don't even remember what my list was.
I don't remember what your list was either, to be honest with you.
I just remember you tried to screw me. That was, fun.
We didn't try. We succeeded, sir.
Why don't we get, is a resistance is one of these?
Nope, they're not hyperspace. They've never been released.
I'm just like striking out left and right. So is it so explain what the 2.0 is like. Why can I only pick certain ships for hyperspace?
So for hyperspace, the initial qualification for what is hyperspace and what isn't was that it has to have been released since the start of 2.0. So at the very beginning of 2.0, everything was hyperspace because we had just gotten the initial upgrades in the pack and everything. But since they've started releasing ships, that's why like Star Vipers are not hyperspace legal, stuff like that. Things that haven't been released yet in 2.0 are not hyperspace legal so far.
All right. So how about a T-70 X-Wing?
Hold on. Has the M3A been released in 2.0? I don't think it has.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think it has.
All right. I'm going to give you this lady, Kai Thorelli, in the T-70 X-Wing. Yep. And I'm going to say, and the reason I pick it is because after you fully execute a maneuver, if you move through a friendly ship, you may perform a evade action. And while you don't think that would be very good, you put her behind the other ships. They move first. If you blockade them, you easily get in a free evade every round. Who's next, Matt?
Me. Ooh. All right, I'm going to flip over to.
Just curious.
119.
Okay, so we got plenty of room. All right.
I'm actually going to flip over to First Order, I think.
Oh, okay then.
We haven't had any First Order, and I feel
apparently like there is a time breach amongst this because we got First Order. We have clones in the.
Yeah, we're everywhere. Oh yeah, we're everywhere. I'm gonna give you a solid piece because I think every list should at least have one very solid piece, and that is Scorch in the FO.
Down. Next time we do a multi-faction, I think we should have a rule that we should build lists out of pilots that cross the factions. So like you get Anakin in the Ada, Anakin in the Delta, Anakin, or excuse me, Darth Vader in the Defender and Darth Vader in the X1, and see what 4 Anakins can do.
Oh, that's hilarious. All right, I'm going to give you Ion Limiter Override on Scorch because I think that's a hilarious upgrade, and I think everybody should have it, period. Next, anybody got next?
Can you guys give me one scum ship?
No,
sure. You got one. It's an autopilot drone.
Oh yeah, you already do. Yeah, you're done. No more scum. No more scum.
All right, literally gave you the lowest point one.
Hold on.
Yeah, no.
I'll give you another one. How about a Y-wing?
I'm in.
Here you go. Here's a Y-wing. You know what? Which one? Here's the worst part about this. I don't know which Y-wing is scum.
Oh yeah, no, it's the other one, not the BTLA4. BTLB is BTLB is resistance. Or not resistance, that's Republic. BTLA4 is the modern Y-wing.
Look, it's got better blues than the other one.
3 names too. That way.
All right, and it's got to be hyperspace is the name pilots. Is that what it is?
I believe so.
For the Scum Y-wing, are we doing Scum Y-wing?
I think it's only the Maxine Warrior and the veteran.
You can have in the
Gentle security officer,
Genanta security officer, or a Maxine Warrior. Yep.
Those are the only ones. Those were just released.
You're getting that one
with the new pack. So
which one?
Gentle
security officer. I want a dorsal turret on that bad boy, please. Or you know what? No, I want an ion turret.
Veto.
Really? I'm not vetoing anything.
Give him a dorsal turret.
You get a dorsal turret.
Sorry.
All right.
Can I at least get an R4 on it?
Sure.
Yes.
R4
yeah, you can. Yep, you can have an R4.
Those things suck. Yes, you can have an R4.
No, they don't suck. I love the R4s.
No, they're solid.
I ran them on my V-wings.
The ship itself is rough. Let's be fair. That ship is rough.
All right, so you got 10 points left. We're gonna. Oh man, we could put crew. Ooh.
Are you gonna let me draw out the 10 points?
Man, I want to. I don't know. No.
I think I need Ben and Danko and Ben working. Please give me your addresses.
Yeah, I guess.
Never mind. I got one.
I still have my veto, so go ahead, Charles. You put something on, and I'll decide whether I'm going to get rid of it.
See here. Can I get thermals on the Y-wing?
Yeah, I'll give you thermals. Yep.
All right.
I'm okay with that.
And then, since I have never, in the history of my playing this game, flown an actual X-wing in X-wing, what can I do there? What titles are available for the T-70? Just the black one?
It's just black one. That's it.
No, that's no fun. What's the hard point?
That's any missiles or any of that stuff.
Oh, okay.
Underslung cannon. There you go.
Yeah, throw that on there. I don't even know what that does. Put that in. Where am I at points wise?
You got 4 left.
4 left. Throw a crew on V Marati. Spend the 4 point crew on V Marati. That is my limitation. Go.
I don't know. Somebody says you should do the Han Solo, but that's really worthless.
What's Chewbacca do?
While you perform an attack, you may spend 2 energy to change 1 focus to a crit. Man,
yeah, put that on the shuttle. Come on, it's a little shuttle. You can knock it off and put it on that.
No, that's awful.
What's Larma Dacey do?
While you have 2 or fewer stress, you may perform coordinate, reinforce, or jam actions even while stressed.
Put that on there then. Let me have that then.
All right, that's more scummy.
If I can't have Chewie, let me have that.
I don't know. Maybe I should let you have Chewy. I know. I don't like auto crit damage. I hate auto crit damage.
Yeah.
With passion.
Let's say, especially with the everything right now, auto crit damage is tricky.
Yeah. So that's my 200 points. Holy
There it is.
Moses. All right. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We really appreciate you guys sticking in there and hanging out.
Yep. You want to see mine? So we'll go back to mine because you all were so kind to me. Charles gets a swarm. I get.
You got Moralo Evol, dude. I don't want to hear your nonsense.
Oh, yeah. Like, that's going to matter.
Let's make sure to give a rundown of the one that Charles has too.
Yeah. It's loading. So Charles has Tucker with Magpulse warheads, escape pod with the the escape craft with the autopilot drone. Oh. It loaded mine.
Just kidding.
Go back to Charles. He had a T-70 and he was allowed to have Siea. I don't know. Is that how you pronounce her name? I think that's how you say her name. Siea? Siea?
Renali? She sounds like a Twi'lek.
It probably is a Twi'lek. I think it is. V Marati with Lamar and Scorch in the TIE-FO and a Y-Wing, a Scum Y-Wing with a dorsal turret, thermals, and an R4 astromech.
Wow. That one got fat.
Yeah,
it's the linchpin. It's the linchpin.
Yeah, that 51,
probably is
that
that
51 point T-70. Woo!
No. We vetoed the ion cannon. He only has a dorsal turret.
That ion cannon would have been murder. Like he was just like, hey, you don't want to go anywhere.
That's why I was to say I know the list we gave you was pretty poor.
I on Moralo Evol off the board, and he's just like, whatever, here I come back.
No, remember, I thought the ruling was if he isn't destroyed, he don't come back.
Yeah, that's 100% true.
That's the M3A. Or not the M3A, that's the Jumpmaster that has that. Moralo Evol is when you fly off the edge of the board, you can spend a charge to come back anywhere within range 1 of that edge of the board.
Yeah, Moralo Evol. Yeah, he's
so it doesn't matter how he flees the battlefield, whether it's Ion or his own choice. If he flees the battlefield and has an available charge, he comes back.
There you go.
Oh, gotcha. And then I could do that twice. I get Moralo Evol with Cutthroat, Boba Fett, and Zam. Garvin in a T-65, a Jedi Knight with Delta 7B, and Muse in the TIE-FO. Look, we both have TIE-FOs.
So to be fair, you can do it 4 times if you trigger it correctly.
Kill him.
If I trigger it correctly.
Well, because you have Cutthroat. So if you do it and then Garvin dies or Muse dies because they're they're limited pilots, they would refresh your Cutthroat or they would spend your Cutthroat and allow you to refresh that charge. So that would give you 3 right there. So if I killed 2 of your named pilots while a charge was down on Moralo Evol, you could flee the battlefield and come back 4 times and just kind of circle the outside of the mat.
Yeah, it might be fun. I've never played some of these ships before, so
should be a good match, honestly.
It'll be a good thing.
It's Jank versus Jank. Let's be fair.
Minus the autopilot drone, I've never flown a single ship y'all gave me, so this is going to be an interesting learning experience.
You've never flown a TIE-FO. That's true. You probably haven't, have you?
They don't exist in the Scum world, so I don't know what that is.
Right.
I've shot at them multiple times. Yeah, but that's not an FO tie. That's an Empire tie.
The FO ties are way better.
He ain't got no shields.
Good.
And they can take target locks, man. It's just night and day. Just night and day.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us tonight. We apologize for any audio issues or any of the setup issues we had. Hopefully you all join in the giveaways. Make sure you message us. If you have not yet, make sure you subscribe to it. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, sorry. Still waiting on Danko Wiskin. Please, Danko. Sorry.
Yep. And make sure you message us on not Twitch. Message us on Discord. That's the best place to get a hold of us. And essentially, if you have not followed us on Twitch or YouTube, please show a little bit of love. Share it with your friends. We will be live every night, 9 p.m. Eastern, every
Sunday.
week,
Every Sunday.
every Sunday,
Sunday.
every week, 9 p.m. Eastern. And
Right.
we have more giveaways that we'll be doing throughout this season. So it's just kind of the thing. And again, the idea of the show is we're helping everybody talk about, beginner lists, fun lists, and casual play. Thank you all. Have a good night. And we'll be back next week with another amazing Planning Phase Syndicate. Thank you all and have a good night.